Let's actually just jump to the story. Okay, so we have this from the Wall Street Journal. Judge orders Justice Department to release redacted affidavit leading to search of Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. I'll put it simply for you guys. The affidavit is mostly redacted. We don't even know half of the stuff in there is. From the sounds of it, Donald Trump's people were in communications with the National Archives. They said, you have stuff that you took from the White House that's, part of the archives. The boxes, Trump had 15, contained newspaper clippings, magazines, personal memos, and some classified information.
Women's underwear.
Perhaps. Donald Trump's people returned those boxes. The FBI then said, when they were told by the National Archives, they believed that was probable cause, that Donald Trump still had more stuff in his house, and therefore they should raid him. They then found 11 packets of documents and took them because they were classified. Kash Patel mentioned the president declassified these things. They shouldn't have taken them. It sounds like they knew Trump had Crossfire Hurricane, Russiagate documents that were going to potentially implicate, or at the very least besmirch, the name of the FBI. And they needed an excuse to go in, check, or seize. This sounds dangerously corrupt and dirty. And I don't know. I mean, did Donald Trump not have copies of whatever these documents were? He's an old guy, so maybe. But I don't know if I believe there was any reason that would warrant what they did at Trump's house, because he was cooperating. He had already turned over these items.
Yeah, that's like if there was a gun recall and they're like, turn in your guns, and you turn in your gun, and then they're like, hey, that's evidence that you might have more guns. We're going to break into your house and check. Like, what? No. I did what you asked. I returned the item. Maybe it had been if you're like, return your contraband items. If there's like a drug recall, return your cocaine. You return it, you get rid of it. Like there are societies where they're like, here, dispense it there. Then they use that as a reason to go check that's insanity. No.
I just think it's unrealistic to think any government entity asks you to turn in something with blinders on, right? They never granted anyone immunity. They asked him to turn in something and it immediately gave them cause. If you turned in drug paraphernalia or guns, of course, then they're going to be like, well, we know you have a history of owning drug paraphernalia or guns. We're going to continue down this road.
How about that completely fake story about nuclear documents?
Oh, yeah.
The Washington Post was like, they were looking for nuclear documents. And then I see all these leftists and they're like, Trump stole 300 nuclear documents and the right's defending him. And then it turns out the warrant was just like, we would like all documents at any point during your presidency that you may have. It's like, okay, well, they were looking for literally anything. It's called a fishing expedition. Mm-hmm. They gave themselves a broad warrant to take whatever they wanted. It really does sound like they're scared that those documents from Crossfire Hurricane will get out. Now, I have to wonder this. Why didn't Trump just release them if that's the case? Perhaps Trump was preparing an October surprise when he was announcing he would be running for president, and then he would say, boom, here's the story. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to stop him.
That would make sense.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think it's also notable, we talked about this a little bit before, but they didn't leak this. I mean, Trump is the one who announced to the world that they were raiding his house. This was not leaked to the press beforehand. I don't think the FBI wanted anyone to know this is what they were doing.
They wanted to turn off the surveillance cameras and stuff, I remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They wanted it to be, they wanted to have the element of surprise and, have this happen clandestinely until they had decided what they had found to then tell you about it. And again, Donald Trump kind of interrupted that narrative by being like, no, they're at my house. Let's all pay attention to this. And everyone was shocked by it. I mean, I don't think anyone had a clear explanation. I think on the left, there was a lot of scrambling to come up with a good reason why they would have done this, especially when they knew he wasn't there. That was one of the things that bothered me. It was known that he was in New Jersey because of a golf tournament at the time. Yeah. Yep. They specifically picked a time when he wouldn't be there to do this.